What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Thor Meter podcast. I'm your host, Sock from Detailing Made Simple, and today we are starting officially the tier list. And this tier list will be on all the products that Thor sells, and I will be doing them by category. Now, a couple of things I will break down as the video goes on. But if you haven't seen my actual intro video, there I pretty much explain most of the things that how I'm going to rank them objectively, how does it work, and we will just rank it as such. And nothing better for me to start off with than Rinseless wash. If you've been watching my personal channel, I've been using Rinseless washes since the inception of my channel, and I've started Rinseless washing back in 2018, 2019, and technology has definitely evolved, and now pretty much every brand now almost has a rinseless wash, when at first it was apparently a fad, and now a lot of people are tuned into using rinseless washes. So yeah, so let's get started. I did wash my vehicle beforehand of this video, and I've been using both Nemesis. This is Nemesis V2. Look how much I have left. So I've used a lot of Nemesis V2, and this is only my fourth time trying Yum Rinseless. And yeah, I think it is about time to do an actual comparison. And the good thing about this is, I think for me at the moment, based on the criteria that I have written down on my notes here on my phone, is a lot of rinseless washes has to catch up to reach this level. And I think it's nothing better to catch up and start off with the top two, for me, contenders. And we'll see where it goes. I'll probably do, say, one on the left, one on the right, depending if they're on the same tier, which one I possibly prefer more than the other. And yeah, so let's get started. So first off, we are going to objectively look at what these rinseless washes do. How well does it clean the door? Does it feel slick, right? Even though slickness is still subjective per se in a bit, but there are very grabby rinseless washes out there. And yeah, so that's that. We're going to talk about whether one is 100% surfactant like Rinseless, or one is a hybrid like Nemesis. And then next off is Slickness on dry off without actually using a drying aid. And meaning that once you're done doing a rinseless wash, can you grab your wash media and just dry it out? And how slick does it feel during dry off? And then how well does it clean your wash media? There's a difference between cleaning, say, the dirt and grime that's on your car's paint versus cleaning your tire, your rubber tires, and you get that tar and soot and all that other stuff that it'll still stain your tire, your towel or your media, but it's gonna come out clean. So there's different levels to it, because there are a lot of rinseless washes out there as well that just with the dirt alone, it'll automatically stain your wash media, or it doesn't come off as clean as you want it to be. So you really have to go to the grit guard. So we're gonna talk about those cleaning capabilities as well. So yeah, so we are gonna start off with these two. And in terms of how well does it clean, right? How well does it clean your wash media? So for me personally, as you saw on the videos and the rinseless wash video over 2 weeks ago, when I actually did a head-to-head battle with this, they both clean the wash media extremely well. You don't have to go down to the grit guard. Both your towel and your rinseless wash sponge, it comes out nice and clean. No issues there at all. Now let's talk about a little bit of the, say, subjective part here, and it is smell. If you were to grab both Nemesis or Yum, trust me, both of them smell very nice, but they are on the two opposite sides of the spectrum, right? For Nemesis, this smells more of like an elegant, almost cologne, almost like Bed Bath & Beyond.
To me. Ooh. Oh yeah, that's some Hogwarts type shit.
Type of scent. It kind of reminds me of a candle scent. That's literally what it smells like to me. It smells as if I have a candle, and it just smells nice, elegant, and it just smells good. Now for Yum, it smells more like candy, a little bit more like fun. A couple people say it smells like pear drop. For me, it smells like a mix of like banana and something else, and there's a helicopter or something flying by. But they both smell extremely well. Now for the best smelling for me, I like more of the sweet type of smell or almost candy type of smell, because for soaps, I actually like some soaps that smell like pineapple. And yeah, so it just goes down to what you prefer. So I am just giving you my feedback on in terms of smell. Now next up, what I have is slickness on both the sponge, which if you're using a rinseless wash sponge, or your microfiber wash mitt or towel if you're doing multiple towel methods. So here's the catch, right? These are both completely different types of rinseless washes. For me, I prefer surfactant rinseless washes only because I like to use a pad washer. And if I'm wiping something off, I'd like to have nothing on the surface, pretty much zero polymer left behind, because I like to use a rinseless dampened towel to wipe off polish residue. And then from there, if I need to use a panel prep, I don't have to use as much panel prep or go crazy or worry about if I remove X polymer protection that's left behind. So yeah, so slickness on both, as I said, the sponge, towel, or whatever, they are both extremely slick. I don't know how Yum ended up creating their rinseless wash being 100% pretty much surfactant, and it is just extremely slick. Just on whatever wash media you're using it on, it feels extremely slick. Now for Detail Co. Nemesis, this is their V2. Their V1 was a bit grabby. And what they ended up doing was changing or adding a bit more polymers to make it more slick. Now the slickness on this is definitely a little bit slicker than Yum Rinseless. That I have to give the edge out on Nemesis on that. So in terms of slickness, Nemesis does edge it out just a bit. Now, am I worried I'm gonna scratch the paint with either or? No, because they're both extremely slick on that. Now, slickness on dry off without a drying aid, that's another thing. So with this having a little bit more polymers, Nemesis, it does feel a tad bit slicker on dry off than Yum Rinseless. As I said before, it's very subjective in terms on how much slicker it is. You can feel that it's a little bit slicker, but in terms of most rinseless washes on the market, these two are most likely up there. And as I said, the tier list will change over time. Hey, maybe I use a different rinseless wash and I drop Nemesis or Yum down to another tier. It all depends on how things start flowing and I start using other rinseless washes. Next up is actually just, as I said before, surfactant hybrid or polymer. I already answered it. Typically, I like nothing with polymer because sometimes polymer does leave something behind. For example, Save right over here. This one is if you were to still use it as a polish wipe off because it has some polymers. The minute you spray panel prep, it'll just easily remove. Save on the other hand, it is very stout protection on there, so you really just want to make sure. I don't recommend using Save to wipe off any polish residue because that protection is pretty stout. So next up, we are going to talk about cost, and this is one of the biggest because this isn't subjective, right? It can be subjective in a way if you are a DIYer. But at the same time, a lot of people like to save money as well. So we do have to cut out the cost, right? So for Yum 16 ounce, it is $22. For Nemesis 16 ounce, it is $12.99. So you're almost getting close to $10 difference on that. And then also for the gallon, Nemesis is $40. $40 a gallon. And for Yum, here's the catch. You don't actually get a gallon. You get more than a gallon. So you get 5 liters for $104. And that is a big upside as well. Now, with this being said, it all depends on what you're looking for And I did forget to mention one extreme thing. So I was playing around with it today because my vehicle wasn't as dirty. And I decided to revisit and actually use this in a 350 to a 350 to 1. That's what I ended up using it as, a 350 to 1 dilution ratio. So pretty much your costs will almost be the same as Detail Co Nemesis. And why do I say that? Because Detail Co Nemesis is a 256 to 1 dilution ratio, and this one is 350 to 1. So it's like almost 0.5 less of a product than you're going to use, you know, like half of the product that you'll use. So in terms of cost, and this is actually slick at a 350 to 1, the way I used it. Don't use it at a 400 to 1. I don't recommend 400 to 1 for Yum Rinseless. I think 350 to 1 is the lowest you should go, especially if you have a well-maintained, and it does really well at cleaning. So that is something definitely in there to factor in. So if you were to factor in 350 to 1 versus 256 to 1, you are using almost less than half a product of Rinseless. So that will end up bringing the cost down to about, let me see right here. So that will bring the product down to almost, say, $16 for a 16-ounce bottle of Yum Rinseless if you were to just use it at a 350 to 1, which that works still phenomenally well. It'll definitely lessen a bit the slickness, but it's not something that you're going to worry about scratching the paint. So it just depends on how you like to use it. I like to use all my rinseless washes 256 to 1 unless it clearly states rinseless wash only for 250, a different dilution ratio. So for this, yeah, so that's the way I like to do things from my end. So how would I rank both of them, and where would I place them? So as I said earlier in the beginning of my video, for me, these two are S tier. These are top 1, top 2 rinseless washes in my personal opinion. And I've used all from many brands outside of Thor, but I'm not going to mention that. But I've used a bunch of rinseless washes throughout my lifetime. You've all seen my videos before. And these are top 1, top 2. Now, if I was to put this as a rinseless wash, which one would I factor in more? I like a little bit more surfactant based, and that is because you get typically more cleaning power the more surfactant you have. Hopefully I didn't turn off my microphone. And yeah, so this is hard. They're both top 1, top 2, as I said, and definitely both S tier for sure. So I will put that both on S tier. I just don't know which one to switch off, on and off. I'll wash 1 week with Nemesis and the following week with Yum. So that's pretty much how I've been using it. And yeah, definitely S tier, and I can't wait to actually use Garage Therapy. I got Quiver on the way. Obviously, I got my DIY detail right here, Save. So stay tuned for those. But as of right now, these are the ones that all the rinseless washes have to chase. And they both well-deserved in S tier. And a couple brands will be upset when they're not on S tier. And I'm sorry, but if you can't compete with these two, it's different. And yeah, so that is all I have for you today. And also, the reason why I said cost is a little bit subjective or not is because if you are a DIYer, for example, a gallon is going to last you 64 weeks. And if you use, my discount code or whoever discount code, I don't really care. But if you use anybody of Thor's creators or other people that have an affiliate link that you watch and you enjoy their content, if you use their affiliate link, guess what? You end up saving 10%. The cost comes down. Or Thor typically has sales. So if they have a sale for like 20% off or 25% off, Black Friday, whatever sale they have, or for Christmas, you're saving a lot of money. And also 64 weeks is not really that big of a deal if you have 64 weeks of washing. That is if you have 2 vehicles and you're using, say, 4 ounces or 2 ounces of Rinseless at a time. The cost in the long run isn't going to make a big deal. So that is something for you to decide. Now, in terms of performance, they both get S tier, 110%. So hopefully you all enjoy this. If you like this type of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for next week because I'm going to be using 2 other Rinseless washes and I don't think they're going to make it S tier at all. So I will see you all on the next one. Peace.